Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second round of the LVF Formula 1 2021 Championship. We are here for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix around Imola. And to be honest, this is actually my first time doing a commentary over this race. I've done pretty few English commentaries back in the day, but I say back in the day when I started doing this around 2 or 3 years ago. Well, let's see how this will go. This is my first big shot in a competition that goes on for a whole year and within a huge field. As we can see the starting grid right now. Carlos Fino starts on pole position ahead of Pavlos' Aston Martin. And Mangels is replacing one of the Williams drivers ahead of Cabri's Speed in the Alpine. Ace has the better has-car and fight in the top 10. Giuseppe had a pretty disappointing qualifying in Red Bull, starts 9th. Even though just managed to get into Q3 in the top 10. Nico Miamo managed to miss out, and the other Alfa Romeo starts 12th. Valdinger 13th, he's a new driver into this league. Adam starts 14th, a pretty decent qualifying by him. Bence Valdinger, his first this race for Haas, starts 15th. That's his first ever race in the league. Two Mercedes cars and the other Red Bull had a pretty disappointing qualifying overall. So that is kind of interesting to see who's gonna come out on top. I haven't managed to say all of the drivers because the starting was a little bit too fast for me, but I think Danny starts second if I'm third if I'm right, because Pavel starts second and he's Carlos Fino, who won the opening race of the season back last week. There's the other Aston Martin in the grid as well as the finishing information like currently. To be honest, I'm a little bit nervous about my performance around this championship, or rather this race and how this will go. So we'll see. As there are two cars coming out of the pits. There is Marit coming into the end of the pit lane as the other Alfa Romeo. And there's the back of the grid coming onto the start-finish straight. That's one of the AlphaTauri cars. That's not Nico, that's for sure. So everyone's getting into their grid position. And now the only thing we are going to wait is the 5 red lights before the second race of the season gets underway. Here we go! And we're off! And it looks like we get a pretty bad start on the line. Pablo was trying to be alongside him, and it looks like Danny's coming as well. There's Ace in the midfield trying to hold on to one. And there's someone up into gravel. I think that was one of the Alpine cars, and there's all sorts of carnage coming into turn 3, I think. And there is the Alpine coming out of the gravel, and that looks like a totally destroyed car as the two Aston Martins swap places. Fino didn't get the best of starts, but it still managed to cling onto the lead, and there's one of the Mercedes cars being overtaken by Ivano, if I saw it right. And I think that's Boba, who's got a pretty decent start overall, and that's Vance Valdinger, who got a brilliant start and managed to avoid the carnage in front of him. But I'm not sure. Here we are riding on board with the Red Bull. I think that is the other one. That's for sure. I still need to learn the names of the league. Big apologies. But it looks like a fairly eventful start overall, and that is balanced. The newbie driver for Ferrari currently sitting in the top 10 after carnage on the opening lap. And that's Ivano on the background, and that's one of the Red Bulls on the grass coming back onto the track. I think that's Boba ahead of that Red Bull as we are entering into lap 2. And that is a fairly easy overtake over there because the speed advantage, and there's the standings right where Fino leads. Rodriguez actually is in second. Pablo's fallen down to third. Danny in fourth. That was his teammate Cabis. He's a Speed who managed to crash into the barriers, and the other Williams, a Mangels 12, is into the pits. I'm guessing because he also managed to damage his car, just like Kabisa. I mean, Kabisa completely destroyed his car, that's for sure. Well, as we are riding on board with was it? That is Nico Maimo in the Alpha Tauri. He actually got a good start, just like Adam Gusi can see in front of the other McLaren. So they and probably Valdinger were the most gainers of this carnage at the opening lap. And here goes Jose round the outside of the Alpha Tauri, and that's an easy move. As Rodriguez sits the fastest lap of the race currently. Meanwhile, Ivano in Williams is already on the back of the Alpha Tauri here. Well, DRS will enable this lap, but not right now. Here we go. Oh, stop speed is the only thing that matters, and the slipstream goes, and there goes Ivano down the inside. Nico tries to hold it around the outside, but that is a futile attempt, that's for sure. So he gets up into 8th place just behind Josette, and this. I think Adam is struggling a little bit in this first stint of the race, even though he started on softs, unlike Josette, who started on the mediums, by the looks of things. Here we go. Up the hill, and going towards Aquamironali, so then there it is. Adam coming off the track and comes back into it, and now here he goes. Jose round the outside into Aquamironali and takes the place. It was an easy move, and there's closest yellow flag in Sector 1. I'm not sure what is going on there. There's Marit, who gained a lot at the start, starting from the pit lane, of course. Mostly thanks to that carnage that happened on the opening lap. But there's Ivano passing the McLaren pretty soon. So Adam is now fallen down to 8th. Well, his teammate isn't turning any better, that's for sure. Oh. And now here comes Nico onto the back of that McLaren. There's Balin right behind them in 10th place, and there we go into the inside, and they touch. Nico managed to hold it in, but Balin gets ahead of them thanks to that move. I'm not sure if that will worth an investigation or not. And there's Bence finding the other Red Bull of Maurice. Oh, here we go. There's a touch, and it looks like Maurice is onto the gravel. A little mistake by the rookie Hungarian, that's for sure. Now up the hill again. And now Marie going into the inside, and that is an easy move. Bence tries to hold it around the outside, but the Red Bull is just much faster than him at this point of the track. There's Nico again, trying to recover from that half spin at turn 1 at the end of the previous lap. And there is Bence being overtaken by Jeff. And there's yellow flag at sector 3. I think they touch. Maybe, I'm not sure. I think they indeed touched. Yes, Jeff is falling down the over. It took just 5 laps to the rookie to make this little mistake, but I mean, he's a rookie. You still need to learn things around here. Now he's falling down to 15th, just where he started. Oh jeez. He's trying to fight back, and currently he's on the back of LeBlanc in the Mercedes car. And there's Adam spinning around in the McLaren coming into the gravel. He almost just did what Sergio Perez did, and there's Bence almost hitting the back of that Mercedes, and now has to cut the chicane. Right in the whole corner of sequence, of course. And he comes back into 15th, and now Jeff is closing on him again. This is going to get interesting, that's for sure. Now we have 2 cars already out of the race. Boba, I'm not sure what happened to him, and Kavita's speed, I mean, his car was totally wrecked in the first lap. I wasn't sure if they would have repaired it or not. So anyway, there is Nico again. Now he only needs to clear Balin's Ferrari coming into stuff. That will be an easy job. Because DRS is now enabled after the first 3 laps, and we are into lap 6. That is probably going to be an easy move. Round the outside. Valdinger holds it in and takes back the place, but he hits it wrong. He goes a bit deep. And he still holds onto the place. Now that's looking like a great battle to see, that's for sure. As if I saw it right, Valdinger and Jeff overtaking Carlos. And oh! That was a cheeky move there by Maurice, who started on the back as now he is up to 9th already. That is impressive. And the fact that he's on the mediums and he's doing that with medium tire, that is all even more impressive. But there's a mistake by him, and there it collided. It looks like Maurice spun around, and I think Nico Maimo just couldn't avoid it. So he has to come back from the runoff area, and there's Carlos, there's the two Mercedes, and looks like Leclerc is slotting behind. Yeah, for Terry, but not for long. And here comes Alexander Leclerc, and he's ahead. And the next one that's coming up is Jeff, round the outside, but I don't think that's going to work there. Yes. So Nico holds up to 14th. 15th. That is an interesting start to the race, that's for sure. Here we go. Oh, and Nico has pulled himself together really quickly again. That's even more surprising. So clearing the two Mercedes drivers, especially on the softs, is rather easy, but those softs are starting to wear out, that's for sure. I'm not sure when Nico has to come into the pits. There's Jeff in the Alfa Romeo. All over the back of that, Alpha Tauri. I think the two Mercedes are just holding up the back of the pack here. That is more good than it's doing more harm than good for them, because Bence allows Bence to close back up to him. And he indeed has got the pace, but still not a consistency, and this cause Fino being overtaken by Rodriguez. It's a thing that we missed. I'm not sure when the Ferrari got overtaken by the Aston Martin. But then he's up to 3rd. Looks like Pablos has crashed into someone as he's coming into the pits. That is a little bit too soon for me. So that promotes Danny up to 3rd and Ace up to 4th. Well, and the others by a position. Yes, there's Valdinger going. 14 Bubbles already gets out of the car and he's out of the race as the two Mercedes drivers are battling for the last point scoring position. But there's Jeff and Nico Maimo in the background as well, so don't count them out. And maybe Valdinger, but I'm not sure how can he handle putting someone under pressure. Because that is pretty much a new league for him, and overall first experience in league racing with all factor. Oh, and there goes one of the Mercedes drivers, that's tough. Afili going off and has to stop back into this trio. Meanwhile, Nico's on the charge again. Looks like he pulled himself together from that incident in lap 1. That is going to be an easy move for him, that's for sure. Oh. Adam's at the back of the grid. So I think he smashed his car as well. Well, that is another action-packed race, that's for sure. I mean, Bahrain was already amazing, judging from what we saw last week. We had an action-packed race, but looks like Fino was in control of that race, but Rodriguez is now in control of this one because he's currently leading by just 1 second ahead of the Ferrari, and Danny is basically following them as much as they could because he's at least 50-60 seconds behind them, and he's better watch his mirrors because there's a Haas behind him in the former Ace. So Ace 84. So As we were on board, of course, with Nico Maimon, those problems, I mean, we did saw what happened to him. He is out of race. Looks like the directors decided to show it just now when we could watch these fights as well on the track. And there it is. Alexander Blair, currently on the final point scoring position. And of course scores first points for Mercedes. And I think history, I'm not sure if he was in this league before or not, or in the Formula 1 class for that matter. And here we go. Here we go. There's Jeff. Round the outside with DRS, and that is an easy move, that's for sure. And he gets ahead. He's into the points position. I'm not sure. I don't think Blair has the pace to fight back. He needs to hope for some miracle. There's one of the Haas's. That's Valdinger spotting into the gravel. I'm not sure if he managed to hold it in. Whoa! That was a little bit of a rushed move by Nico Amberes. Fino going for the race lead. Rodriguez is into the inside. Fino holds it around the outside, but he has to back out of it because he doesn't get any space, and he has to correct the car as well. He got the DRS, he got the slipstream, even the... Well, I'm not saying the engine advantage, it's only the speed advantage, and that wasn't still enough, but I think he is about to retake the race lead pretty soon, and there's yellow flag in Sector 2 as well. Like anyone would be able to overtake in Sector 2 if you're not talking about a mistake by one of the McLarens. And that's Valdinger again, pulling himself together. Still mistakes in one lap, okay. I mean, he's still a rookie, so I'm not surprised that he's struggling a little bit. But that is racing. Well, you will get used to it by some time. And there's Pablo Rodriguez making a big mistake, going onto the gravel, coming into the last two corners of Bence. And here we go, coming into the stop. That will be a much easier move for Carlos Fino. He's ahead of the Aston Martin and into the lead of the San Marino Grand Prix, or Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Sorry, I'm just so used to saying San Marino Grand Prix because I think that name suits this Grand Prix much better, or Imola at least, because that track is in San Marino. And for a long time, I think for 20, 30 years, the track hosted Grand Prix under the name of the San Marino Grand Prix, so I'm pretty used to that name, not the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, which uses this name again, the third time in 2022. So that's going to be a little bit weird to say. Hey, but hey, everyone will get used to it, right? Well, not everybody, but most of us will get used to it by time. Now there's Rodriguez using the same method, opening the DRS and trying to attack Fino, but he's a little bit too far back. I mean, he got the DRS, he got the slipstream, but he's just a little bit too far back, and Fino, the only thing he needs to do is to get rid of the Aston Martin as quickly as possible, so he wouldn't get attacked coming into the next lap. And I think he's going to pull away pretty soon. He's already 8 tenths ahead. There's yellow flag at Sector 3 again. Looks like things have calmed down after the action-packed first few laps, that's for sure. Meanwhile, let's see which rookies are doing pretty decently on their first races. This is here in Imola, because true, we had some of the rookies that signed up for the start of the season racing around Bahrain. And I think Reinhardt was one of them, and Bruno neither of them has managed to make it to the race, so that means we're seeing some new drivers around here as well. And Bence Valdinger, who had to miss the first race due to the other duties on his other end. Oh no, sorry, that's Ace, battling for third. He's an experienced driver, not a rookie, that's for sure. Coming into the start-finish trade, there is the DRS. He goes for the move into the end, and that is an easy move. Danny couldn't do anything, that's for sure. The only thing he needs to do is just stay behind the Haas until the start-finish trade, and he's basically back ahead. I'm not sure if Ace can pull a gap over his compatriot very soon. I mean, he's got half a second already. It looks like Rodriguez might go for the lead again. He's between 2 and 3 tenths behind Fino. So that is looking like a tasty battle for the lead, and a tasty battle for third. That's a short third as well. We're coming onto Bence for the 50th time. Now onto the start-finish trade, and looks like Ace is in a little bit of a danger because Danny has got DRS, he doesn't, and that might be an easy move against the Haas driver. But I'm not sure. No, he's a little bit too far back. I thought 8 tenths might be enough, just enough to close up and pass the Haas, because the low top speed that Ace is currently using. There's the yellow flag in Sector 2. Again. Now in Sector 3. Looks like there are a few other people who need to get used to the 2021 cars, because especially around this track, as Bence Valdinger said to me, and here goes Carlos on Valdinger round and into the inside, but the Ferrari driver holds the position, and Carlos has to run onto the grass and over the curb, so it basically stays behind for the time being. And there's Jeff coming into the pits, doing his first stop. I'm not sure if that was a scheduled stop or not. Either way, he's on the soft, so he's trying to go to the end of the race on those tires. And there's Carlos. There's Tafili coming into the pits, and that's Ace, and I think Danny as well, coming into the pits at the same time. So Ace came into the pits, and Danny come into the pits as well to follow him, to make sure he doesn't get overcutted. And he still comes behind him, and that was a slower stop by Alpine, so Ace got a bit of an advantage over Danny again. There's a pit lane, and there goes Ace back into third, provisional third of course, because there were some cars that haven't made their pit stops, and Danny stays behind him, but with a much bigger gap than the others currently. LeBlanc comes into the pits. Meanwhile, Carlos finally managed to get past the Ferrari, and there's Nico again charging from the back of the field, and he's already up into 10th after that half spin. There's someone on the grass. There's LeBlanc. Oh, that is going to be a little bit close. Valdinger holds it into the inside, and there's a Mercedes going up the track, and Nico gets ahead of the Ferrari. That was a little bit too close for comfort, that's for sure. And there goes Rodriguez into the pits. We passed about half race distance, and now the pit stops are coming in. Only Carlos and Bence Valdinger are staying out from the back of the field for once. Even O hasn't stopped yet, Carlos hasn't stopped yet, and it looks like Rodriguez is on the soft tire, so that is going to give us strategic advantage to him. There's Murray behind on 4th from the back of the grid. But remember, he hasn't stopped yet, but we saw his pace during today, and the amount of luck that he got But it's, well, situation to say the least, because he spun around and managed to get away well with it somehow. While Nico has lost a few positions thanks to that incident. And there is even holding up Nico, and that's Rodriguez making contact with the sorry, that was not Nico, that was Carlos. So Rodriguez made contact with Carlos' Alpha Tauri there. I'm not sure how much damage did they got. That's going to be investigated after the race, that's for sure. Where's Nico? Coming into the chicane. That chicane is the difficult part of the track. Some of the drivers are really struggling to get through that on qualifying without leaving the track or spinning themselves around and over getting a good exit. So that shows how difficult it is to get the perfect lap together around a track like this. So we're on lap number 19 now, and Carlos Fino is still leading the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix out of even in second, who hasn't yet to stop Pablo Rodriguez in third, Ace in fourth, and Danny in fifth. As things currently stand, Joseph is currently sixth, Marie is seventh, who now has made his final stop of the day. Carlos eighth, but he hasn't stopped yet, as well as Nico Maimo, who is now up to ninth after falling down the order, and Balin, the newcomer in the Ferrari, closes the top 10. And he's really struggling compared to his teammate. I mean, we can see the same difference between Ace, ECT, and Bence Valdinger as well, but that is a little bit too much. Or how should I say that? Never mind. We are on board with Nico Maimo coming onto the start in the straight. So that is a little bit of a tough job for Balin too. He's only currently in 10th, which means 1 point as Rodriguez pushes Ivan O off the track. I think that's worth another investigation as Lebauer gets a penalty. I'm not sure if that was a stop and go or a drive-through penalty. So Mima Torifi is closing on Bence Valdinger on the soft tire. So that's something that we need to watch. And there goes Ivan O into the pits. And I think that his car's damaged. I'm not sure. But it looked like he's pulling into the right. Or left, sorry. I'm not sure about this one, but it definitely looked like the car's pulling over to the side. Not sure. There's Bence Valdinger on the other half chasing down Danny. And there's Talifi getting a penalty as well. Both Mercedes cars has just managed to collect a penalty for some kind. I'm not sure what kind of penalty. Lebauer came into the pits. Bence Valdinger is now up to 13, but he hasn't stopped it. There's Marie setting the fastest lap of the race, a 1:66 if I saw it right. I think so. And there's Nico Maimo coming into the pits, and he's definitely going to put with the softs on. And that's a slick stop by him. And there's Talifi into the pits. We're on board with Ivano, who's behind Joseph's Red Bull, who hasn't stopped yet. Or sorry, he has stopped. And it shows that Ivano hasn't made a stop yet, at least by the graphic. It's the graphics, but I'm sure he was in the pits just a lap or two ago. I'm not sure if this is a bug or even got some kind of penalty. But if he indeed got a penalty, which I don't think is true, then that's going to be a big loss for Williams, because I can't see the other driver, because the other Williams Romagna is in 16, but he's already 2 or 3 laps down. We're on board with Valdinger, trying to fight back against LeBlanc, who came ahead of him. That is looking like a little bit of an action-packed race today, folks. It's not as exciting as maybe the real-life GP was. As I'm not sure, but okay. Oh, there is another mistake by Valdinger, and that it looks like to me a heavy damage, and he's checking with damage in the mirrors. Now he's coming back onto the track. And I think, yeah, there is suspension damage. There's Carlos behind. And that is Jeff sliding off the track. Jeff was into the pits, but Bali wasn't. Who currently still sits in 10th, and I think they collided a little bit, I'm not sure. There is even, coming into the pits. Then he got some kind of penalty because he's coming into the pits again. Oh, gosh! I'm not sure that was Valdinger's fault, because Carlos was on the inside, Valdinger closed the door, and they both flew off the track. They're both trying to somehow come back onto the track. Valdinger immediately comes into the pits to make his stop, and that is going to be a long stop if he decides to repair his whole car. Either way, that's going to be another thing that is going to be investigated later on in the day, or the coming days rather. Now Bali comes into the pits as well. I haven't checked that, but he completed his stop, and he comes back behind Nico Maimo, who's up into 10th again. And Ivano is down to 9th thanks to that pit stop. Misjudgment. Behind Jeff. Carlos hasn't made his stop yet. Fino is, and he managed to come back into the lead of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Let's get on board with Danny in the Alpine. And there's a penalty for Rodriguez. Pablo Rodriguez got some kind of penalty. I'm not sure if that is a drive-through again or a stop and go, because the graphic doesn't say. As I think Valtinger's race might be over. He's in the pits for a minute, almost 1.5 minutes, and there's Danny trying to lap one of the Mercedes cars. That was an easy move. Now Rodriguez comes into the pits thanks to that. And that promotes Ace up into 2nd place, if things go right for him. And yeah, he is up to 2nd. And Danny is up to 3rd, and Rodriguez comes out in 5th. Jose T comes up. He's up to 4th, meanwhile Marit sets a new fastest lap of the race, 1:59, and he's 7 seconds behind Pablo Rodriguez. So that is going to be an interesting thing, and Marit is on the charge now. He managed to gain 1 second over the last 2 seconds. Although Rodriguez is behind Jose, the other Red Bull. So, and now there's Carlos Fino taking it in the fastest lap away. A 1:56. In 6th. As we're on board with Rodriguez trying to attack the other Red Bull opposite. Meanwhile, Marid is behind them and closing in on him. So he has to get this move done as quickly as possible. And Valdinger indeed coming back into the race. It's Latifi. Okay, one of the Mercedes cars has to bail out. So that is one DNF for Mercedes. Overall. So LeBlanc is on his own now. Like he wasn't on his own in the last few laps. Alone in the last few laps. And there's one of the Ferraris, I think that was Valdinger, yes. He pulled over to let the faster cars through. Oh. This is set to be a good battle here between the Red Bull and the Aston Martin. As Fino sets another fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 154.4. That was 2 times faster than his previous, his fastest lap, which was 1:15.6. As Carlos comes into the pits, and I think he's going to come back behind Maimo. Yes, he is. 2 and now 3 seconds of the rule. Rodriguez comes in again. What is going on with Aston Martin there? Rodriguez got another penalty, which I wasn't aware of. What is? I don't know. I'm not sure. But these 2 extra pit stops has totally ruined Rodriguez's day. That is for sure. Jeff is going to get ahead of him as well. Or not, I'm not sure. He comes back ahead of him at least. Rodriguez, he lost a lot of time with his 2 extra pit stops, that's for sure. His day is ruined. The only thing he could do is to gather up some points, and there's someone spawned at Aquamironali. As we know, another fastest lap from him, a 1:50.0 this time. Looks like he's setting fastest laps peacefully without anyone disturbing him. Because Ace is at least half a minute behind the Ferrari, as well as Danny. Jose is almost 14 seconds behind the Ferrari. So that rules out any competition in the front again. So that is going to be 2 in a row for Carlos Fino. And that is going to be a comfortable championship lead for the Ferrari driver. 15 points in the bag, so that is currently a maximum performance from his end. I mean, the Ferrari team was in the driver's fight and the constructor's fight with Red Bull last year. And looks like this year could be theirs for once. After their first 2 races. And there's Fino running another fastest lap of the race. 1:47 this time, another 3/10 gain on his previous bet. He's on the charge. Even though he knows that he hasn't got any competitors around him. And the only thing that sets in his way are the lap cars. So that is going to be an interesting sight to see. Not gonna lie. As there is Danny around the outside with DRS. That is an easy move. Well, they said that the Alpine driver gets up to 2nd. That was an easy move for the multiple world champion. I mean, he's got a lot of experience, at least 10 years of F1 racing experience behind him, so he knows what to do for sure. And now, he's currently attacked by Ace. I'm not sure if Ace can fight back. The only way he is going to fight back is to stay as close as he could to the Alpine driver, coming in the starting tree, but he's going. And he's fallen out of the DRS range. Yep, and he's off the track. So that 2nd place goes to Danny for sure, because I'm not sure if he can, unless he makes a mistake in the final few laps. Not Ace, Danny, because now Ace made one. And that second place slipped through Ace's fingers. Now he rather has to look into his rear mirrors, and there's Mangles getting a penalty. I think that's a stop and go. Again, not sure because the title doesn't, or the graphic doesn't say what kind of penalty he's got. And this looks like an easy win. Of course, after overtaking Pablo Rodriguez, it was as easy as you like for Dino. So, 2 races in a row, 2 Ferrari victories. I hope Ferrari doesn't get a big advantage over into the next few races, which can somehow keep holding. Now there's Danny, hold up. He has been hauled up by one of the Williams cars, and there is Ace coming back at him, and he's ahead. In second place, Danny is going to get the DRS there. And that was what looks like it jinxed Danny's second place, which is not, I'm not totally sure. They still got 2 laps to decide who's going to get second place. There's Danny Riley outside with DRS, and that is an easy move again. And there goes the Williams, who has to back out of it. I think that was either even O or Mangles. I'm not sure which one of them. And now even O gets a penalty of some sort. Well, it looks like the FIA is really throwing some penalties around here during these final few laps, as Ace made a mistake. I think we could have saw him. And there is one of them, as the Williams spinning around. That is Mangles, who also gets a penalty there. And that was Mangles who's gotten into some kind of trouble. And I'm not surprised that he got a penalty. He's already out of the race. So I think that's Valdinger, if he steps on the gas, and he does, then he might get another position, and he can finish this race in 14th, despite his rookie mistakes. He hasn't trashed the car out on his first appearance in the league, and there's the 2 Red Bulls battling out for 4th in the final lap of the race. Here comes Marit. Jose is ahead. Marit into the inside. That is going to be an easy move. I think there it is. Yeah, there it is. That was a much easier move than I thought. And I think Jose has just let him through, although Murray makes a mistake. Jose comes back ahead and it looks like Jose closes the door on him. I'm not sure if he's got enough time for one more attack, Marit, because Carlos Fino is coming out on the final corner and he's already won the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, who we haven't saw his finish because the director is already focusing on the battles in those that we can see right here. Danny is soon about to cross the line in second place, and Eason in his first race for Haas gets second race for Haas gets a podium with the team. So that was a decent performance by and there is Maurice into the barriers. Can he manage to climb back into 5th at least, because he managed to work his way up through the field to 5th, and that wasn't what he needed, and he's holding down the order. Meanwhile, Jose managed to cross the line and fall ahead of Rodriguez. That was an exciting race, that's for sure. We hadn't too much battles on the lead, but we had action left, right, and center. And that is going to rule out. It's going to set the scene for this season. Apart from the Carlos Fino winning everything, I really hope that is not going to be true, because that might be a little bit of an embarrassment. But basically, that was it. That was the second race of the season. Well, we had it at pretty much of an up and down rate is in the field, and to be honest, for first commentary, I felt that wasn't too bad, and I really enjoyed racing as well. Which is why to be honest, starting to kind of like this league. So, after this, the only thing now that is left is to go racing next time around in 2 weeks' time when the series returns to Portimao for the first time since 2020, or rather 2021 in that case, for the second one, or the second running on the modern Portuguese Grand Prix. I really hope I could get a cool commentator for that race as well, because that is totally worth it. I can't wait to see you very soon then. Now, goodbye.